This place, on a bend of the Mississippi River, less than 100 miles from where Abraham Lincoln split rails, was the site of one of the largest cities in Illinois. Within a 7-year period, the city was built and then largely abandoned. How and why it happened is the story of old Nauvoo. The area had been home to early Indians and a few white settlers. Land speculators of the 1830s had projected a city for the site and called it Commerce, but the panic of 1837 stunted its growth. Lying low along the Mississippi, soggy in places from the high water table, Commerce was unhealthy during mosquito season. Early in 1839, several thousand members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints arrived in western Illinois. They were not ordinary settlers, but refugees fleeing religious persecution in Missouri. With their leader, Joseph Smith, they hoped to build a city where they could live and prosper in peace. In the spring, they cleared the land and drained the swamps. They gave the place a new, more optimistic name, Nauvoo, a Hebrew word implying beauty, peace, and rest. Before the summer was over, the land had been surveyed and the city laid out. There were broad streets and large private lots. By the end of the first year, it was a big, unfinished town and was getting bigger every day. Neighboring settlements claimed Nauvoo was growing like a mushroom. During the next few years, converts streamed to Nauvoo by the thousands. Joseph Smith was the driving force behind Nauvoo. His testimony and teachings, his gentle nature and compelling personality won the love and admiration of those who came to know him. By 1843, Nauvoo had become a prospering community. Surrounding towns had only a few hundred residents. Nauvoo claimed over 12,000. Newspapers covered world affairs. A university offered classes. There were shops and stores of every kind. Nauvoo was a city on the go. Its citizens enjoyed the best of both country and city dwelling. The order and beauty of the city, with its checkerboard farms and comfortable homes, attracted widespread interest. There were 2,000 homes in the city proper, and 500 more outside. But the most significant building ever to rise above Nauvoo was the temple. Construction required untold effort. It was to be the house of God. It symbolized their faith in Jesus Christ, a faith for which they would sacrifice if necessary. By 1844, the old sources of friction kindled new antagonism. Joseph Smith, his brother Hiram, and other members of the city council left Nauvoo for Carthage, the county seat. They went of their own free will to answer charges raised against them. June 27th was a day of tragedy. Joseph and Hiram were killed by an angry mob. A rift had been wedged open in Hancock County. The majority of the citizens rallied to the leadership of Brigham Young. Nauvoo continued to grow, but leaders of the church were urged to leave the state before civil war erupted. Ironically, completing the temple shared first priority with preparations to leave. The finished temple saw full use for only a few weeks. Early in February 1846, the first group of Latter-day Saints left Nauvoo to begin the journey west. They were to cross 1,000 miles of wilderness to find a new home in the Rocky Mountains. By September, Nauvoo was virtually empty. But until the fall of 1848, talk persisted that the former residents might come back. The ruined temple and the empty city attracted little interest after 1848. A few of the former citizens remained, among them the family of Joseph Smith. His widow Emma kept the mansion house as a hotel for many years. In 1849, other settlers came to Nauvoo, French Icarians hoping to build a utopian community of their own. Swiss, German, and other immigrants followed. A business district developed on the bluff. Industry grew. A few of the original buildings were put to good use, but most lapsed into disrepair. Nauvoo went about the daily life of any small town for more than 100 years, with only an occasional visitor to ponder the past of the old city. In 1954, Dr. J. Leroy Kimball, inspired by the notion of restoring the home of his great-grandfather, planted an idea which took root in the fertile soil along the river. Nauvoo Restoration was established. Its purpose? To restore and preserve the heritage of the old city. It happened all along the streets of old Nauvoo, as history was literally dug from the earth. Today, there is a tranquil feeling in Nauvoo, a dignity that follows struggle. And everywhere, there are reminders of a past that cannot be forgotten. The story of Nauvoo is a story of faith, the legacy of this city on a bend of the river.